What is up, guys, and welcome back to me. That was the worst intro I've ever done, but I'm gonna roll with it anyway. As you can see by the title, what we are going to be doing here is my season 3.3 Corey the Clorix, thank you for the follow. My season 3.3 tier list. Now you may be thinking, wait, hold on, you've already got a tier list completed here. And yeah, because this was my season 3 tier list. I did it near the end of season 3, around a few months ago now. And what I'm simply going to be doing is using this tier list, because to me this is how the tier list was last season, and well, last point of the season, because it's still the same season. And what this is here is basically me just updating it, because there were a lot of significant changes made, and we also need to put Fakumram on the tier list somewhere. So first of all, the first change I actually wanted to make was to somehow move Gigas down, but there's no further down that Gigas can go, because he's actually at the bottom, because Gigas actually caught some side nerfs in the tier list. But the first thing I'm going to do is these two characters, Kazuya and Devil Jin, I'm moving them up to A+, and I'll get into their more specific placements later on, but those two are going up immediately. And what I'm also going to do is move Hwoarang, actually goes up quite a bit. And I'm going to start talking about Hwoarang in depth and why I believe he has gone up quite a bit. So with Hwoarang, I didn't believe that his buffs were that crazy at the start. But as I've started to play him more, and as I've started to get into the character more and sort of see what the buff sort of meant, I think he has moved up a bit, because what he's become kind of strong with now is dealing with mashes. He's actually become really strong at dealing with mashes now, because stuff like his right foot forward back 2 being +4, even though you can still step afterwards, if you mash, he has a bunch of frame traps to keep you in. His right foot forward back 4 being a counter hit launcher, if you're trying to mash out of situations, especially with jabs or hides, you're going to get counter hit launch for that. So I think that already in itself moves Hwoarang up. But I actually moved him above Hachi, and Hachi's actually going to the top of A tier now, simply because all the Mishimas were buffed with the stuff like the electric and all that. Hachi does benefit from that, but I believe he benefited the least from all the Mishima buffs, because he's still quite a difficult character to play. It's like he didn't get anything added, he just became a lot more difficult to play against. And also whiff punish, Hachi can whiff his electrics a lot more now, you know, safe plus and block launches, so can all the Mishimas. But as someone just pointed out in the chat, his hell sweep still kind of suck. You know, he still doesn't have any fast regular launches that you have access to. He does have his while setting 3 1+2, but that's for 18 frames, basically blocking sweeps. So it's not, you know, he still struggles in that aspect. But I think the electric buff and the general Mishima buffs really do make him a much stronger character. And another character that actually goes up is, this isn't a character that's going up because of season 3.3, but this is a character that's going up because I got to see what they were capable of at a tournament, only the best in Italy, and that's Athena. And Athena's actually going up quite a bit, in my opinion, to here, because I watched Athena in this tournament, and the stuff that she's able to do is crazy. The Athena in particular that I watched is Mitra Storm, and the stuff she does is insane. The stuff that she's able to backdash, she was crushing hop kicks. Yesterday, I played as Athena in an online tournament, and her back 1+2 crushed my just frame skyrocket. My best hitbox mid was crushed by Athena's back 1+2, and this is the kind of stuff that happens regularly with this character. She crushes everything, she gets around everything. Her damage is actually quite good as well. I think the worst thing about her, and something that I overstated as well, is that she doesn't have great punishment, you know. But I do believe I definitely underestimate this character quite a bit, and I will be reshuffling this top part as well, just a little bit. But that's why I have to correct that as soon as possible, because I was wrong about Athena. Now, next up, see, the thing is, the rest of the other characters that got buffed in season 3.3, their buffs were really like, they didn't really change much. You know, they really didn't change much. Like Lily, for example, got some nice buffs, but the best I could see her going is here now. Best case scenario, she sits at the bottom A tier now, which still isn't much of a change. Generally, to me, she sits here now at the top of B tier because she got a very nice buff in her account. I think it's 4-3 being a count hit launcher and stuff like that, but she still suffers with a lot. You know, there's a lot she still suffers with. Her tracking still isn't great, and some of her moves are just useless at this point. And the rest of these characters here, you know, nothing really got changed about them, and that's a real problem, I believe. You know, these weaker characters, the characters that need changes, that need buffs, that need fixing, aren't getting it, and I think that's, you know, a real downside with the game. But season 3.31 is coming soon. I don't expect much from it, but hopefully we get something in the future. And like Miguel as well, like, you know, his new rage drive at best, just, you know, it doesn't really change. It's the same rage drive but different properties. It doesn't do much for him. Like if he's lucky, he goes up to here now because a bit of extra comeback potential with further wall carry, but you know, it doesn't really help the character that much. And I feel like while we're here, we should talk about the new boy. We're going to talk about the new boy, Mr. Fakumram, and I think he has kind of two placements on the tier list. First of all, he's a character I've been playing a lot with. Lux, thank you so much for your sub. But yeah, Fakumram, and he's a character I've been playing quite a bit, like a lot. I really like him. I think there's a lot going for him, and he needs a few things that need to be fixed. So first of all, talk about what needs to be fixed with him. The 14 frame throw needs to go. Really needs to go. It's too good, definitely too good. It obviously is a mistake. I felt like they would have fixed it by now, but 3.1 will obviously 3.31 will hopefully fix that issue. I think stuff like his standing 3 is very good because he has 3-1, which is mid-high. Then he has 3-3. I thank you for that follow, Dr. Cowbell. Then he has 3-4, knockdown, natural knockdown, obviously 3-4 guaranteed account here. And he has 3-1-3, sorry, 3-1-4 and 3-1 down 4. Like there's a lot of mixes off that. Same with his down forward 1 as well. Down for 1, so many extensions, so many things going off that. And he maybe needs a few hurt box fixes. Well, not maybe, definitely he needs hurt box fixes. He really needs hurt box fixes. There's too much that I've seen just whiff on him for no reason, and he's a big body, so he shouldn't be able to do all that. And also his movement is really good for a big body. I don't know whether that was intended, but maybe that's something that needs to be dealt with. But with that all in mind, I think if they don't fix any of that, like, you know, stuff like his 3-1, his standing 3 and his down for 1, those aren't too bad. But the hurt boxes and his throw, if they don't get fixed, he sits at least here in my opinion. If those things don't get fixed. How's it going, Spag, by the way? I hope, you know, I hope your Twitch is I hope your Twitch remains blessed. I wish you all the best moving forward in the future. But yeah, I think at least here if none of that stuff changes, because one thing that I think, you know, I don't think he's a fantastic character. I didn't think that for a while though, but I think when you have such strong movement the way he does, like when I've played using him, I can step Mishima's electrics to the right, and I've done it consistently. You can step Mishima electrics to the right, to their strong side, and that's in season 3.3. I've done that. So I think that kind of movement that he has, coupled with the fact that he's just a very, very strong mix-up character, has great damage. Stuff like his safe jet kick, which I think maybe should be weak to one side, but you know, it's terrible in whiff. Once you've blocked it, all of the follow-ups, either backdash or sidestep, you'll be fine. But I do think he is a very, very good character in this game. He does have tracking issues, kind of. Like a lot of his moves are quite linear, like it's quite easy to get around him sometimes. But I think he has good homing moves that will mitigate that. Like his back threes are very good, 16 frame homing, counter hit launching high, and all of his mix-ups as well. He's a very, very strong character in my opinion. And like his jab stuff, like 1-2-1. That is so hit confirmable. 1-2-1, so hit confirmable. So that is why I believe he goes at least there, and I think I could be persuaded to even move him higher, but definitely a strong character. And now let's get to the top. Let's get to the top because since my last tier list, these two characters have been nerfed quite significantly, both of them. Like I put Leroy here before he even got the first big Leroy killing nerf. Right, that's when I first put him here. And then Akuma also got his nerfs. And I believe with what happened, they've only moved down onto the same tier for me. all that happened is they both moved down to the same tier. That's what happened with those nerfs. Leroy is still a very, very good character. He still carries people. I still don't respect people that pick the character. If you are playing Leroy and your opponent isn't playing Leroy and you lose, you are just bad at the game. That is my full opinion on Leroy. He still carries the fuck out of people. He's still annoying to play against. He's still super good. And there's really nothing else to really be said. And Akuma still has access to a lot of things. Yes, his down 4 damage nerf is noticeable. Forward 4 being a counter hit launch, not being a counter hit launch anymore, that hurts. But I still think the rest that those two characters still have is ridiculous. And that's all it is. Those two are the best characters in my game, in my opinion. But let's now get into the meat and potatoes of the argument, and that is our Mishima friends here. Now, I said the last time I did this tier list, I believe Kazuya is the best Mishima. I said Kazuya is the best Mishima. I do think that Devil Jin has his nerfs have hurt him. He's still a solid character, but Kazuya still reigns supreme. Now Devil Jin's like here minimum. This is the worst I could see Devil Jin being this season, because when you buff all the Mishimas, when you buff generic Mishima tools, Devil Jin will always come out on top. When you buff generic Mishima stuff, Devil Jin will always come out on top, because he is the best, in my opinion. He's the most well-rounded Mishima. He was the most well-rounded that doesn't need the Mishima tools. Kazuya, for example, he needs the Mishima stuff. Hachi needs the Mishima stuff. Devil Jin does not. So when you buff that, that's just extra stuff that he doesn't need. So with a character like Devil Jin that now exists, where you don't really have movement to mitigate how strong his 50-50 vortex is, you're going to be guessing all the time, and if you guess wrong, you die. And that's the end of that, you know. I think Devil Jin right now has gone back to being top 5, back to season 1, where he was one of the best characters in the game. And I think Kazuya doesn't fall too far behind. I think he sits around here now, simply because, like I said before, I think what makes a character strong in this game for a little bit is how simple it is to play against them. I think that's important to throw in there sometimes. How easy or hard it is to play against them can really, you know, make a matchup. And before, Kazuya, relatively simple to play against him. Just sidewalk left, just sidestep left. You're gonna get around most of his tools. Yes, he had homing moves. Yes, he could wave dash realign. But now with his hell sweep being pseudo homing, it takes away a big part. It takes away a big weakness that he had. And one thing that I found as well is when he's in rage, the mix up off there is so terrifying now, because obviously he has his rage drive, which, you know, low profiles really well, great damage, puts him into devil form, but that could be mitigated by sidewalking, sidestepping to the left. But now that he has the hell sweep as well, you don't want to hindsight, thank you, follow, you don't want to block low. Sorry, you don't want to sidestep anymore because the hell sweep's coming. So you're going to want to block low. But if you block low, you get hit by the rage drive. So genuinely, with that, I think that changes a lot for the character. And I think he's very, very strong now. A lot of people saying, yes, he may still struggle in tournament. And that is true. But my tier list has always been based around these characters being played to their absolute best. And Kazuya being played to their absolute best is now terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And you cannot change my mind. No one can change my mind on that one. And were there any other characters that were buffed or nerfed in the patch? Like, I think with me even asking that means that the changes that were made weren't even that significant to any of the other characters, really. Like, you know, I know Lily got touched slightly, Ling got touched slightly, but, you know, a lot of Ling players were like, oh gosh, this is, you know, whatever. But actually Asuka as well. Asuka did get touched, but it wasn't anything. I remember a few of her buffs were, I did scratch my head at them. I think it was some recovery buffs and frame buffs, a few things like that. But it wasn't anything too, you know, it wasn't anything too drastic. I already talked about firing. It wasn't anything too drastic, but yeah, I think like even that I have to put Miguel back. I actually have to put Miguel back because yeah, he's got a rage Rage Drive buff, but it didn't change anything. Like, you know, it doesn't, like, all it does is help him in, you know, with a bit more comeback potential. But I think the Rage Drive now is like, yeah, it's okay, it's good, it's better than it was before, but it doesn't change the character on a fundamental level at all. And he's still a bit lackluster in my opinion. Miguel's best buff was what was the Sav 1-4 buff? Was that a buff I missed out? Because the thing about the buffs as well is like they weren't anything too crazy that I didn't care. Like I didn't care. Everyone looked to the Mishimas, everyone looked at Kazuya in particular. It's a natural wall bounce. Okay, that's quite important. That is quite important. Natural string safe wall bounce, that's quite important. I do think having something like that buffs your wall game quite a bit, so I think I can put him back. But even, no, not above Jack. Maybe above Jack. No. Yeah, I do think that is quite big, but even then, the character still has other things that aren't going well for him, so I can't justify moving him up higher than there really. Is Hwaring A+? No. The thing about Hwaring still has his problems. Hwaring still has his tracking problems. He still has his hitbox problems. He still suffers against pressure. But all they did now was make him a lot better against mashers. Like, if they fixed his problems, like, the thing is, when I say like fix, because there's a difference between fixing problems and fixing weaknesses. And I'll give you an example of that. So let's look at Hachi. I think Hachi's problem is that he doesn't have a good low. Let's say he doesn't have a good low. His weakness was he didn't have a while standing launcher. That was a weakness. He had to crouch cancel electric every time. So they patched the weakness. They patched the weakness by giving him a while standing launcher at 18 frames while standing 3-1+2. But that only solves a small part of his game plan. It doesn't fix the rest. So when I say for Hwaring an example, like a weakness for him is that, you know, he doesn't have fantastic punishment. That doesn't mean I want him to have fantastic punishment. That's just me saying that's a weakness that he has. But problems that he has are stuff like his hitboxes. You know, a lot of his moves just whiff for no reason. You'll see it a lot in the Ling and Athena matchup. That's it really, hitboxes. That's the only thing I really care about. That's all I really think that's all I care about really. Don't you think Kaz has weak matchups against a lot of the top tier characters, especially Steve? Like besides Steve, not really. Like it's not to the point like the others aren't affected, you know? Exactly, yeah. Problems need to be fixed, but weakness is not. Are you sure that Yoshi is so high? Yoshi was something that I got more from the opinion of other people when I first made this tier list. Like this tier list that I have here was a tier list that I made a while ago. For season 3, near the end of season 3, and I'm just updating for 3.3. That's all that's really happening here with my tier list. So yeah, this was, and the thing is, because there wasn't too much change, like it's like this is you know, this is how it is right now, you know. Actually, you know what, like I'm gonna move Gigas down. I'm gonna actually move Gigas down because Gigas has to move down. He's got help me tier, right? This is just for Gigas. This is just for Gigas. This is just for Gigas because they nerfed him again. Nerfed him. Yeah. And Eddie kind of still sits in like, please, you know, I need something. And I kind of think Armor King deserves to be in Help Me tier as well. But actually, you know, Armor King's also going to go in Help Me tier because I think the fact that they didn't touch these two, but they inadvertently touched Gigas tells me that they need to care about these characters. They need to. Yeah, I don't think Gigas will come back. I'm going to actually do a video as well. I'm going to do a video in the future as well about who I think will be coming back to the next Tekken. But yeah, I think that's it for the tier list basically. Just me updating my season 3 tier list and just showing what I think of the game in its current state. And yeah, so thank you for checking out this video. Please let me know your thoughts and feelings below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Quick update back on the video. So I made a few changes to the top end of the tier list with some debates with the chat. Realized that Geese could go up a bit, Zafina above Elisa, and you know, obviously that moves Kaz down a bit, but I believe this top end here is really what I believe is appropriate. Like the thing with these tier lists is a lot of it is opinion, and a lot of it is, you know, just what you value to be strong, so it will change over time quite a bit. But I believe for now this is what really holds. And obviously as well, the thing is with characters, you know, it's just what you value as strong. So tiers are opinions, they are subjective, but I do believe, you know, a few characters that did underrate and overrate here and there, so that just small changes there. You'll be able to see a change if I just show you. So yeah, that's all it is really. And anyway, live the rest of your life. Goodbye. Another quick update. I have to go back to YouTube. Another quick update. We have now moved Shaheen above Law. There was a bit of a debate, and Shaheen is now the better Law. So once again, live your life.